right, welcome back. Today we're going to talk a bit about the Sefirot of Malkuth on the Kabbalistic Tree of Life. And if you look at the Tree of Life, it's the one that's all the way at the bottom. That's where we are. That is the physical realm. Malkuth is the material physical world in which we live. So then why talk about it? I mean, everybody's in the physical world, right? So we should have a pretty good idea of what's going on. Well, to be able to understand the rest of the Tree of Life, you really need to begin at Malkuth. Begin where you are, and you are here. Now, Malkuth means the kingdom. Thy kingdom come. Thy will be done. On earth, as it is in heaven. Did you catch that? On earth is the kingdom. It's the kingdom of heaven, not the kingdom in heaven. On earth, as it is in heaven. The symbol for earth is a circle divided into 4 equal parts. And the churches know this. They have to. Here's the logo of a church that's near me. Every time I drive by it, I say, Malkuth. I would be very surprised if they did not know the symbolism that they're using. I'm pretty sure that they know it. I'm also pretty sure that they're not going to tell you about it. They're not going to offer it up to you. Instead, they're going to tell you about Jesus and how he's everything that you need while keeping the real knowledge for themselves. They only hint about the real knowledge to others with the knowledge through use of symbolism for those with eyes to see and ears to hear. I mean, most people driving by this church and seeing this logo wouldn't recognize the Kabbalistic and astrological symbolism there within. Am I right? I mean, look, the first thing you need to understand is there are a lot of people out there who have this knowledge, who know this stuff, often in positions of power and authority, who pretend they don't know this stuff. Because if they didn't, they would probably be burned alive by the very people who they've brainwashed into believing it was heresy to keep them away from it, to keep them in the dark, to keep them from knowledge. And the people wouldn't turn on them, not for the lack of knowledge, but because the brainwashing is so strong. They would then view them as sinners. And I don't want to go off on too much of a rant on this. Just understand that this stuff is important, and that there are those in the know who often use this information to have power and authority over others. Now, Kabbalah in general is typically one of the more difficult subjects to explain to people. And it's generally because there's so much information packed within the Tree of Life, for example, that you could spend your entire life studying it, and people often do, and still get new information out of it. It truly is an incredible blueprint of reality, of what's going on. The Kabbalistic Tree of Life includes all of the planetary correspondences. So for those of you getting into astrology or performing planetary magic, it's going to be a good fit for you. Those who already know their planetary correspondences are going to have an advantage when it comes to learning the Tree of Life. Malkuth, the kingdom, this physical reality, corresponds with our own planet, Earth, otherwise known as Terra or Gaia, whichever you prefer is fine. So we don't have to get into any astrology to learn about Malkuth. That's why it's another good reason to start here. You are here, and you don't have to learn any astrology as of yet to begin. All you need to know about Malkuth is conveyed by its position on the Tree of Life. First of all, it's at the bottom. And the bottom is where all the heaviest stuff settles. Physical reality is like the sediment of the Tree of Life. As spiritual beings, we are meant to work our way up the Tree of Life. When you hear talk of ascension, that's what you're meant to be doing. Except a lot of people have gotten it twisted. It's not some new agey, light bearer, UFO stuff. Ascension really is working your way up the Tree of Life into the higher realms. But in order to do that, you have to get a handle on this realm first. It's a lot like school. You don't graduate to the next grade until you master the grade before it. That's why I put out programs such as Secrets of Wealth, so that you can get a handle on this reality first, have your kingdom come, so that you can then path work up the Tree of Life. I'm appalled by spiritual leaders and gurus who have you focus on spirituality and ascension first without even having mastered their own physical reality beforehand, which are most of them. There's a progression to ascension. You just don't skip right to the top. People often wonder why the first grade in the Golden Dawn system of Magick, beyond the probationary grade of Neophyte, is the grade of Zelator 1 equals 10, the elemental grade of Earth. And this is why. This is what you need to get a handle on first. Physical reality is your starting point. And for good reason. I mean, being at the bottom of the tree of life means that this is as low as you can go. In biblical lore, mankind was cast out of Eden and sent here. Also in the lore, so were the devil and the fallen angels. And that should tell you something. This is only as low as you can go on the tree of life, however. Malkuth is also a crossroad. Another reason that Malkuth and Earth is symbolized by a circle with a cross. Because if you go any lower than Malkuth, you're now getting into the Qliphoth, which is the inverse tree of life, the tree of death. And for those on the Qliphoth, Malkuth, this physical reality, is as high as you can go. To be able to understand Malkuth is to understand polarity. This is the culmination of all the talks that we've had on polarity over the years. Everything in this realm, everything in Malkuth has to do with polarity, all the way down to the tiniest atom that comprises physical matter. Each one is going to have a positive and negative charge. Protons, neutrons, and electrons. The tree of life and the Qliphoth. Not only is it between the polarity of both of these trees, but it's between the polarity of each tree in of itself. So I want to share something with you that happened to me when I was a kid back in grade school, like first or second grade. There's not a whole lot I remember from back in those days, but I do remember this because it had a very profound effect on me. I'll remember it for the rest of my life. And I think of it every time I think of Malkuth because it's the perfect illustration of Malkuth. I was in grade school and the teacher handed out these little miniature light bulbs with these posts on them to each of us, along with 2 wires and a battery. And we were told to try to get the light bulb to light up. And of course it's a no-brainer now, but as kids, the class was doing all kinds of ridiculous things trying to get the light bulb to light. And after a couple minutes, I was the first one to figure it out. That by connecting a wire to each terminal of the bulb and the other side of the wires to each side of the battery to complete a circuit, the bulb would light up. Now, I say that not to brag, but to illustrate why it had such a profound effect on me, why it stuck with me all these years. And I'm not sure that it would have if I hadn't been the first one, because to me at the time it got me really excited, like I had made some sort of scientific discovery, that I had discovered how electricity works. Flash forward all these years later, and it's ironic that I talk about polarity all the time. But this is what you need to understand about Malkuth and the Tree of Life in general. If you know anything about the Tree of Life, you know that Kether is at the top. They often talk about the light of Kether, how we're supposed to bring the light of Kether down into the world. So Kether is the light bulb. The pillars on either side are the 2 wires that are connecting the light bulb of Kether to the battery of Malkuth. It's an electrical circuit, and if you understand this, then things such as grounding exercises make much more sense. Malkuth is the perfect expression of polarity. The Earth itself has a north and south pole. It produces a magnetic field, as does all life on Earth. That's what your aura is. It's an electromagnetic field. Just like the Earth's. You can't have that without polarity. Even ghost hunters go out in the field with their EMF detectors, right? Hunting up ghosts. Unexplained electromagnetic fields are what they're looking for. So in order to understand Malkuth, you need to understand that Malkuth is all about polarity and that polarity produces electromagnetism. Even your own thoughts are neurons firing in your brain sending electrical signals. So as you can see, polarity is vital. So when I tell you that you need to depolarize, what I'm really saying, because many people have taken this the wrong way, is that you need to get to the point where you understand polarity enough that it no longer sways your decisions by attraction and repulsion alone, as it would most people. Most people are simply unaware of polarity. Most people, this is the highest that they're going to ascend. For you paranormal connoisseurs, you ghost hunters, did you ever wonder why there's so many earthbound spirits? I mean, even life and death are polarized here, right? Malkuth sits in the middle and is the bridge between the tree of life and the tree of death, the Qliphoth. It's the middle point. It's Middle Earth. If you ever wonder where Tolkien got that from, understand how much people borrow from the occult. You can't be life here without there being death, because everything within Malkuth in this realm must have a polar opposite. It is the nature of the Sefirot of Malkuth, the kingdom. Without it, life could not exist. Life can't exist without that electrical circuit. In fact, that's what death is. It's the breaking of that circuit, or the destruction of the electromagnetic field. Polarity resolving to a single side. You may recall that I have said that true depolarization is stagnation, and stagnation is death. So when I talk about depolarizing yourself, what I'm really talking about is seeing things from both sides, seeing things from the middle, so that you can choose and not be swayed. So it's different. It's a way of not being influenced by the polarity that most are easily affected by, because Malkuth is the ultimate expression of polarity. It is the battery for the rest of the tree. It is the root of the tree of life. And Malkuth and everything in it being the battery for the rest of the tree of life, where do you think they got the idea for the movie The Matrix from? I mean, today's scientists are even theorizing that this reality may be a holographic simulation. And I'll let your mind chew on that for a while. And the part of the body that it corresponds with are the feet, the closest part of your body to the earth when you stand upon it. And we do our grounding to the earth through our feet. So hopefully Malkuth and this world makes a lot more sense to you now. Why everything is polarity here. Why there's not total peace on earth. Because there's going to be both war and peace. There's times and places of war, and there's times and places of peace. Why people can't get along. Why they're either on the left or the right politically. All this stuff. Those polarities clash with one another. That's what opposite polarities do when they meet. They clash, they fight, there's violence. Even the weather is polarity. It's all about high pressure and low pressure, cold front and warm fronts. What do you get when those polarities meet right along the front? You get storms. The greater the polarity, the more violent the storm. And what do these storms produce? Electricity. Lightning. Do you now understand? Do you now understand how polarity is the basis of everything here in Malkuth? And how that polarity generates electromagnetism, which is the foundation of biological life. Hell, even electromagnetism is polarized. Electricity is the opposite of magnetism. That's why they're so powerful when they're put together. That's why when they're talking in astrology that the signs, particularly the elements of those signs, are male or female, what they're really saying is some are electric and some are magnetism. And it alternates from sign to sign. So electromagnetism is even built in to your natal chart, to the zodiac. And that is really all you need to know about Malkuth. Because everything that we've just gone over here is all you really need to succeed in this realm. Study it. Because if you can utilize the polarity in all things, if you can get a handle on the electromagnetism and understand the circuit, that it's all an input and output system, you can achieve balance and master this physical realm, and then clear the way for your ascension to higher spiritual realms. Dwell on it, meditate on it, so that you know what you need to do. Most of you already know what you need to do. Ridding yourself of bad and unwanted physical addictions. Getting yourself in good health and good physical shape. Getting your finances in order so that you can meet your material needs. Malkuth is the realm of the physical and the material. In order to master it, you must first understand it. So meditate on the things that we've gone over and see if the way on how to do these things is not presented to you. This is the first elemental grade in the Golden Dawn system. Earth. I mean, it's all fine and whatnot to study Kabbalah, but it's an entirely different thing to put the system into practice. And if you're going to start path working up the tree of life, then you're going to need to start where you're at. Malkuth. And that will do it for today. I hope you enjoyed this video. I wanted to give you something with a little bit more meat on it this time, as well as give you a heads up that next week will be Thanksgiving week, so there won't be a video lesson, but I instead am planning on doing some giveaways, so keep an eye out for those. I want to thank you all for your love and continuing support, and I wish you all the best. See you next time. Take care.